Thanks everybody for joining us today. It's Fred Bellio from Driven 4, and today's topic is going to be going from PDM to PLM to drive your digital transformation. So we're looking forward to having this conversation, and we'll start with the agenda. So we go to the next slide. We're going to talk first about who's presenting for us, a quick overview of Driven 4, and then we'll go into what we believe is the right approach from thinking PDM to a enterprise PLM solution. And then we'll give you some of our key customer success stories as we move forward through the presentation. Okay, and by the way, if you have any questions, you can always use chat to give us feedback on what you're asking any questions about, and we'll respond at the end. All right, so Fred Bellio, co-founder, managing partner, been around the industry for 30 years plus, working here at Driven 4 for the last 6+ years, and had many roles within the industry, be it at Ashley Furniture, Whirlpool, Brunswick Corporation, and I've pretty much grown up all my career within product development, PLM, as well as manufacturing operations and connectivity. So I'll pass it over to Bala.
Good afternoon, Bala Shetty here. I'm also one of the managing founder at Driven 4. I focus more on the product lifecycle management and industrial IoT side of the business activities. My experience has been in the product development and core manufacturing last 25 years, and also was part of the teams in the past for successful enablement of enterprise PLM programs at Brunswick as well as at Whirlpool. Suk?
Hi, this is Suk Shetty here. I'm joining from Toronto, Driven 4. I have, again, 20+ years of design, manufacturing, and product lifecycle management experience, especially for today's topic, which is PDM to PLM, because that's something very core to me, how I grew up in terms of, develop the company from PDM based to a PLM based company. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thanks, Bala. And so pass it on over to the next slide. Again, we won't spend much time on this, gentlemen and ladies. We'll just talk real briefly about who we are. We come from a different kind of upbringing than most folks in the consulting world. We were on the side that you guys and ladies exist today, which is working for manufacturers, working for OEMs that are trying to put in place key technologies like PLM and IoT, both on the manufacturing side as well as on the connected product side. So, we think we come from a different perspective. We come from your view and your standpoints. I think we can provide great insight as we go through this journey. Go ahead, Bob. Some of the things that we provide everything from our thought process is really holistic in nature. And what we think through is really how does it drive a difference on the business results and the business value that corporations are going to be getting. We really do not focus on just the technology suites, because we make sure that when we walk through this process, we go from a process-centric approach, then driving through the elements that are required to be enabled within the process, and then how do we measure it, and then also how to put that in place within the technologies. So go ahead, Bob. Typically, we could go through different phases of call it engagements with individual companies. We typically like to start from a strategic perspective, understanding how companies work, what's important to them, and then driving the value proposition through that kind of lens on how we actually approach the engagement. We do a lot of work on the process side. We do truly believe that process needs to come first before any technology. And then what we're finding is customers are starting to look for us and other companies as well, just trying to drive how do we manage and support their environments after we go live. And we take that from a stance of proven technologies and proven implementations. So let's keep going, Bob, don't worry. So we'll get into the topic now, going from PDM to PLM, and just give you some little high level. Digital transformation is a topic that you see and read about constantly. It's conversations that C-suite individuals have all the time about how do we drive certain differentiation in the marketplace by enabling technology. Some key things from IDC are really around, you need to start with the basics. You need to have fundamental foundations. And that, I'll just highlight that 20% is common source of data and service it up as a single source of truth versus a lot of organizations still, duplicate data, which then causes all kinds of grief. Go ahead. And then the other thing that I would be interesting to hear as we go through this is a lot of times we walk into corporations and they have, like, I would classify it as a siloed event, right? Engineering's got a thing going, IT's got a thing going, we got procurement's doing something. And it's interesting to see when you look at McKinsey's and their reports, it says typically if companies stay at that siloed approach, their holistic benefit is never really realized. And what happens is most of those, 2/3 of them to be exact, actually fail. And then from our perspective, being in product development, and we usually start with innovation, we talk about product development. Product development to us doesn't stop. The life cycle just changes from product focus from the design and engineering phase to the actual manufacturing and then the service. But the key concepts are really about providing information to the right people at the right time in context so they understand what's valid to be used as information, and then not only keeping that information within your four walls, but extending that through your whole value chain and your supply chain. And this is just a typical kind of process that we kind of walk through with customers on how do you do a digital thread, what's the thought process around it, and really how do you connect the two, right? You're trying to connect the physical world to the digital world, and it all comes through from the definition in CAD, so product definition, the controls that manage the actual controls of any product that you're producing, how we actually get through managing that in a configuration in PLM, connecting that through IoT, both on the product side as we validate, but also as we're going through manufacturing. And then, one of the big things these days is sustainability. That's one thing we have to walk through from a value chain from start to finish. And then one of the things that is really an up-and-coming technology is how do we make usability of the information through augmented reality or virtual reality to the customers that are going to be using it, be it our people, our dealers, our networks, as we go forward. And then how we think about product development. Product development in our world, we believe, is changing. It's going from true product development to connected product development. And it's a holistic approach. It drives kind of the connectivity between product information, how we manage it through the life cycle. The whole, I'll call it, full stream of information is usually centered around a bill of material and the change of or transformation of that bill of material from engineering, manufacturing to service, and then utilizing the connectivity to the product, how it's being tested, how it's being manufactured, how it's being serviced throughout that whole life cycle as it exists, and making sure that we can connect both physical product, process, as well as individuals and connect that information into a holistic transformation. And then, Paul, I'll pass it to you going forward here.
All right. Again, as Fred mentioned, right, we see a lot of companies, if you look at the PLM industry for the last 25 years, a lot of customers, right, they traditionally manage their CAD data, drawings, drawing releases, and some of the iterative activities which goes along the cost quality improvement projects or new product development, NPD projects within customers. Bottom line, they evolve or revolve around those capabilities. They really, cannot get to the bill of materials management or bringing cross-functional areas like quality, manufacturing, service, procurement, and things like that. So what we see in the industry where customers are going from managing mechanical CAD to electricals and hardware data, the software data, software source codes, getting those released through PLM. That's the evolution. We also see a lot of customers looking at managing engineering bill of materials, managing manufacturing BOM as well as service bill of materials. And also when it comes to quality, we see a lot of customers trying to connect this validation and verification process as part of their product development activities within their core foundational PLM. They're also looking at enabling the corrective actions, CAPA processes, non-conformance, the deviation processes, the fracas, right, for the failure reporting, and then various other quality related function. There are customers going and leveraging the PLM functionality to enable those capabilities. And also when it comes to enterprise product change management, we are not talking about changes happening within your CAD models and CAD drawings. We are talking about how this change propagates through your bill of materials, and also the communication pieces needed, internal or external, to provide that details to the internal or external folks who are part of that change management process. So we look at a lot of customers enabling these kind of capabilities, and we see that as a customer going from PDM to PLM. And also the traditional manual data synchronizations about managing data between PLM and ERP or PLM and MES for manufacturing. We see a lot of these activities are automated. We see a lot of automation happening with respect to the integration capabilities and methodologies. This means there are drivers within the process improvements in terms of how engineering works closely with procurement or manufacturing or transactional activities, which includes the ERP system. We see a lot of customers enabling capabilities to leverage the PLM foundation for that. Moving to the next slide. Here we covered a lot of this content in the foundational aspect, but we see a lot of customers, for example, here enabling something like a data hub for their PLM system. So this data hub becomes a central communication hub for receiving data and sharing data from the PLM, right? Whatever other enterprise systems or custom applications used in the downstream functional areas, those data can be leveraged to drive decisions and fast tracking activities in the day-to-day activities within the PLM system. We also see customers enabling all their outputs or outcomes needed in the compliance management aspect, and also different reporting and dashboarding needed for downstream areas. Those are all the PLM extended capabilities getting enabled, and we see more and more customer walking towards that journey. Now here I'll cover some of the success stories from our customers real quick, which really shows us how customers are evolving from PDM to a PLM. The first one here is the customer who has enabled the end-to-end bill of materials globally for all their manufacturing and product development footprint. They have one single PLM system set up for managing their global product information. They have seen significant improvements in terms of their timing for getting the NPD projects started and completed. They're also seeing big improvements in how fast they complete their cost quality improvement projects. They eliminate a lot of manual spreadsheets, manual processes in terms of how they manage the bill of materials, how they manage the cost during the product development, how they leverage the data to calculate their product leadership scorecards and various other elements. They do both the MCAD and ECAD. They also manage their software source codes through the PLM, through the bill of materials, to release that to the respective manufacturing shop floors and the MES systems receiving those programs, software programs in their products. This is on one of the success stories for a customer who went from a PDM to a PLM. This slide also refers to the same customer, which has more details in terms of what other elements of capabilities and then business challenges they resolved. The critical piece is in terms of how they enabled the bill of materials, right? They had 59 factories globally. They have multiple locations where they do the product development or the R&D centers. Now with these capabilities, they're literally leveraging a design anywhere, build anywhere kind of a business model framework, so that they're leveraging their global footprint in a way that it helps their operational benefits and the cost savings what is needed, and also keeping their global team updated to the up-to-date information using one PLM system. This is another example of a customer who has set up the PLM foundation capabilities in a right way. Now they are enabling capabilities within the PLM where they can track their parts, engineering parts, how they're getting evolved in the product development process, what this evolution means to the active projects being managed globally, and also basically bringing all information real time centrally so that they can take out all the manual tracking, manual spreadsheets, meetings and email communication happening between cross-functional teams. So in this we leveraged Windchill and Windchill Navigate capabilities. So these capabilities can also leverage information which is mastered in other source systems within an enterprise so that they become a read-only, but they help drive the decision on the PLM side for product development teams. So the information is leveraged coming from other systems here. This is an example where a customer enabling the bill of process. Basically, PLM having the bill of material information, bill of process information as part of the manufacturing bill of materials. We see customer also leveraging service side of the information as part of the service bill of materials. Now, in terms of what this solution does for digital instructions for manufacturing, it includes the CAD data, the lightweight viewables of the CAD data from the assemblies. It includes the information coming from the bill of material. It includes the information set up in the bill of process documents. It creates a dashboard and information what needed to be delivered for a person who is assembling things in the assembly line. It also includes the information coming from your ERP system so that as that assembly product comes to the assembling technician or an engineer, it brings up the right information based on how it collects information from PLM, how it processes the information coming from the product scheduling in the MRP side, and the digital work instructions gets delivered to the assembly person. Same thing happens on the service side where we have enabled service information getting delivered to the service technician on the field, right information at the right time based on the system setup, and also leveraging the up-to-date latest information being managed in the PLM system. Here is an example where a customer has enabled the end-to-end capabilities on the PLM. They also had a good set of capabilities enabled for their requirements management and systems engineering capabilities. Here, what we are bringing is kind of a database to manage the day-to-day KPIs for systems engineering for all global projects. Here, we are talking about hundreds and hundreds of projects happening globally. Basically, this KPIs also looks at the adherence of the project management governance, what needs to be released and completed by what timeline in order to say that this particular project milestone is completed. So we are leveraging all set of capabilities for these customers using, here they're using IBM Rational for requirements management. They're using Windchill for their PLM. They're using Planisware for their project and portfolio management capabilities. We're basically bringing all these data together through different technology modules to really look at all these KPIs, around 20 plus different project KPIs using the live data from various systems so that day-to-day decisions can be made for those hundreds of projects. We are leveraging ThingWorks here for those dashboards. And one of the screenshots you see on the right-hand side is showing those pretty much, the dashboards in terms of where each project stands out with respect to those given KPIs. With that, I will turn it over to Suk to walk through a couple more success stories for customers going from PDM to PLM. Suk?
Hey, Bala, thanks. What I wanted to cover here is the lab information management system, where, based on what Bala had showed previously, It's kind of an extended PLM capability. Even with some of the great PLM tools, it comes with a gray area where the service provider will need to fill in, and that's exactly what we have done for some of our customers. Fill that gap in this lab solution. As you see here, it is developed with Windchill and ThingWorks as the tools used here, and the information is provided to the lab technicians, where they can actually create lab requests and track the progress of the request, assign it to the particular user, with various degree of certifications. They can control that as well. They can even control their the lab technician certification to assign or automate that to assign it to the right person for the approval. And also you can see the they can have the ability to monitor real-time information coming from the connected lab equipment, like the 3D printer, compressors, and some of those test fixtures. It also manages the historical test results, data associated with the parts and assemblies in Windchill, and it solidifies the information for the reuse case. So some of the information, I mean, here, if you it also helps to centralize all this data in one place, instead of going to a third-party analytic tools or dashboard. So this uses Windchill Navigate, a custom app, which basically integrated between Windchill and ThingWorks. So yeah, on the other one, this one, product management reporting, which is most probably not the key influence of a PLM tools. Mostly you use some BI analytical tools like Microsoft or BI kind of a tools. But in this case, the reporting is built from Windchill. This used like around 13, 14 report out of a PLM system to track ECN and change notice and the other tracking, like an issue tracker, right? It gives a clear indication of where the current the change is. It gives the visibility of current process. It's like an intuitive dashboard. You can actually even automate based on a certain certain request to control. If it is not met within the time frame, to show as in color coded, bars, so that the managers know that it's behind the schedule. So it's like an intuitive dashboard. Bala, do you want to pitch in here?
Yeah, I would add maybe one point, right? Especially on the product management side, right? If there is a mandate to track part reuse, for example, or you want to track how many changes we are doing on all the new parts we released in the product in the market last 2 years, or by year. So this product management report really helps them track those things on a new part which was released a couple months ago. How many active changes are happening? Are we really solving the root cause of the problems as we make those ECN changes? Or when there are multiple parts are getting changed in this ECN ECO process, how many of the parent assemblies are impacted, and how do we sequence this implementation of the changes in the real production, in the manufacturing? So all this visibility is available in this product management report, so that people get involved in resolving those day-to-day conflicts for a fast track, execution of the activities. I would add that, and I'll move to the next slide. So I think I'll cover this one. Basically, this is another aspect we see. Just like how customers are going from PDM to PLM, you are really adding capabilities in the PLM aspect. You are bringing in cross-functional usage, users as well as their business processes on a daily basis, on enabling those same in the PLM system. As these things gets added, now you have an enterprise PLM setup. Now the PLM is as important as your ERP or MES systems, right? From an IT standpoint. Now the question is, how do we manage this enterprise PLM better going forward for your day-to-day solution enhancements or your major application software upgrades or patches, what is needed for leveraging those improvements. As you look at these management from a managed operations or managed services standpoint, we start seeing a lot of automation needs for managing this application with respect to testing. You don't want to spend 2 months testing and validating the processes when you do a minor patch in the software or an upgrade, or you're enhancing a given solution within a given area, and see how you're impacting the other elements which are set up in the PLM system. So we do have the capabilities to do the end-to-end PLM test automation for an enterprise PLM setup. And here is an example of one of those setup we did for a customer of ours. With that, I will turn it over to Fred to wrap up our conversation today.
Well, thank you, Bala and Suk. Just want to kind of close it up by saying thanks for everybody for showing up and having this time with us. Wanted to just kind of open it up to questions and see if anybody has any questions either in the chat or wants to voice any questions. If not, I'll give it a couple of minutes, or else I'd just like to say thank you. So let me see chat if there's anything on the chat. As of right now, there are no questions. Let me just check for any raising hands. No. So with that, again, I'd like to just say thank you. And again, thanks to Bala and to Suk, and appreciate the time for everybody. If you'd like to have any further conversations with us, please reach out. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.